Passion, drive, persistence, resilience, love. All qualities that shape and define us. Join the Cyber Warrior as he helps shape your path. This is Walk With Me. Welcome back to Walk With Me, a Cyber Warrior Studios production. I'm your host on this journey, the Cyber Warrior. Now, over the past few weeks, we've discussed a few things: hate, fear, love, and we're going to touch back up on one of those topics today because of the question we have. And I want you to know that these questions are all anonymous, and I hope that more of you submit them. The way you submit them is the ngl.link down below and in the show notes, as well as I share it on social media every so often too. But ideally, I want to make this show about you. So I hope whoever asked this question, I hope I can answer it, and I will do my best to answer it in the best of my ability. Now, the question goes, how can you improve your communication when oftentimes self-doubt is front and center? And it's an intriguing question, and I've actually been thinking about this a good bit. And I had a bunch of stuff I wanted to say, and I'm going to say some of it, but the reality of it is it comes down to two things. Really, there's two things that cause self-doubt. One of them we've talked about before, and that's imposter syndrome. Now, that is thinking that you don't belong in a certain career field or area or whatever the case may be. And the biggest way and the easiest way, it's not even easy, but the best way to conquer that is to quit comparing yourself to somebody else and to other people in their careers. Maybe they're in the same career field as you, but by comparing yourself to others, that's what fills you with self-doubt and imposter syndrome and everything else like that. So the best thing to do is to only compare where you're at today in your education, your career, or whatever the case may be, to where you were yesterday, a week ago, a month ago. And as long as you're improving, as long as you're seeing progress, then there's nothing to worry about. Because even in the conversations you're going to have throughout the day about whatever topic it may be, it's okay to be wrong. And as long as you're learning, and as long as the people you are interacting with teach you and guide you to at least show you where to find the right answer or how to find the right answer, then you're doing something right, because it means that you're showing interest. And as long as you admit to knowing and understanding that you may be wrong, but this is what you understand something to be, then it's okay. It's okay to be wrong. It's okay to not have all the answers, but feel that you may be right. You just have to be willing to understand that when you are wrong, take it and learn from it, grow. And that will get you a lot further. And so as long as you stick to that, you stick to only comparing yourself to yourself, and you stick to always be willing to grow and learn and understand that it's okay to be wrong, then you're fine. You'll conquer your self-doubt. You'll still feel it on occasion. It's still going to happen, but not to the effect that maybe it does on a regular basis. So from a career perspective or imposter syndrome perspective, I hope that answers your question. Now, to touch on the other aspect of it, and what I feel it truly can come down to as well, is fear. You're afraid to be wrong. You're afraid to admit you have feelings for something or someone or whatever the case may be. You're afraid to fail. And this fear can lead you to doubt yourself in so many ways. And I think that is really, even in our work, even with imposter syndrome, I think that's part of it. I think that that's really what it comes down to is conquering those fears and understanding, once again, that you can't be afraid to fail. You can't be afraid to be wrong. You can't be afraid to come out of your shell in such a way that makes you a better communicator. Right? So anybody that knows me knows that when I speak, I have a tendency, especially on other shows that I do, to be very brash and very much, I say what's on my mind, regardless of the verbiage I use. I swear a lot and things of that nature. And I've learned over the years how to filter my speech when I want to, how to adjust my vernacular and really speak on a more professional level, I guess you would say. But that's not necessarily how I speak all the time. And so having that switch and being able to do those things helps me be more confident in who I'm talking to and how I communicate, because I am able to do that. It took time and it still slips away from me every now and then. But ultimately, it's knowing how to adjust how I'm speaking based on who I'm speaking to. Been doing it for years. And so I think that would help with self-doubt, is understanding that at certain times it's okay to be yourself in how you speak. And in other times, you're better off adjusting how you say things. And that goes for emails, that goes for writing things down, that goes for posting things. If you're trying to get a point across, it is best to not be offensive, I guess you would say, or say things that could be taken out of context. So I think that would help. Even writing on a regular basis can truly help. And then to finalize that is, this fear that we have, fear of failure and being wrong, fear of taking risks, fear of so much in this life really hinders us. If you go back 2 episodes and listen to that episode, I talked a lot about it. But fear ultimately is going to hold you back. It's going to make you doubt yourself. It's going to make you doubt your capabilities. Because when you're afraid to be wrong, when you're afraid that things that you may say could affect people, you're not willing to speak. And that's difficult. Even in my career, there are times where I just sit and listen because I don't feel qualified to speak on certain topics. Even though I may have a point, I may have something I want to say, I hold it back because when you're not the boss, you can get fired or you can have something happen. And so it doesn't matter how open an organization is. It doesn't matter how open people say they are. There are things that we think as humans, as people, that could be taken the wrong way. And so we're afraid to talk. And, when it comes to the things that we're learning, the things that we're doing, you can only be wrong so many times before you really start to feel like you don't know anything. So all that fear will hold you back. And instead of taking it to learn from, you take it and you just don't say anything. The way I see it is, as long as you're willing to learn, as long as you're willing to grow, as long as you're willing to get better, then you're doing the right thing by speaking. And there is a time and a place to hold your tongue. There is a time and a place not to speak when you should only listen. So finding that happy medium, finding that difference is important. And if you don't find that difference, if you either speak all the time or you just listen all the time, never giving your opinion or whatever you know to be fact based on the situation, then you're only hindering yourself. So take that for what it is. Understand that, this is just things I've experienced. This is the way I've seen life go for me and for others that I know. Between the military, my career, school, you name it, personal life, there's times I've been afraid, not spoken up, and it's hurt me. There's times I've spoken up and said things I shouldn't have, and it's hurt me. It happens. And you have to be willing to deal with the consequences of those actions, good or bad. And sometimes we're not willing to face them. Sometimes we evaluate the risk and decide it's too much. What's the reward? Ultimately, if you say something and you're right, what's the reward for it? Maybe you get recognition. Maybe you feel stronger about yourself and you're more confident in your abilities or in the information that you know. But if you say nothing at all, then the consequences of that is no one knows who you are. No one knows that you're able to speak in such a manner that is educated on certain topics or in general. The other thing about that is, and we can get into this, is your personal life. None of us are guaranteed tomorrow. You can go outside and get hit by a bus. Something can happen. The world is crazy, and we all know that. So if you don't tell people how you feel because you doubt whether or not they feel the same way, or you have some other type of self-doubt that keeps you from speaking how you feel, then a time is going to come when it's too late. And again, you have to look at the consequences of your actions. Could you have had a better relationship with someone had you spoken your mind? Possibly. Can you ruin a relationship by how you speak your mind? Definitely. But as long as you're open and honest with the people you care about, then yes, good things are going to happen. Bad things are going to happen. but you're not holding anything in. And the negative people in your life, the people that would be against you by speaking your mind on how you feel about certain things, are they really people you wanted in your life to begin with? And that's where you have to get away of this fear of having people leave. The people that care about you, the people that truly want to be friends with you, be family, and support you, will support you no matter what. They'll tell you when you're wrong. They'll tell you if you've messed up, but they're not going to leave you. They're going to grow with you. They'll listen to your side. You'll listen to their side. A lot of times you'll come to a logical conclusion and you'll get better. But when we bite our tongues, when we refuse to speak, no one gets any better. No one gets any wiser, and nobody learns. So that goes back to knowing when to speak and when to listen. So again, I don't know why self-doubt is so prevalent these days, because it very much is. This isn't the first time someone's talked about self-doubt or imposter syndrome or something along those lines. It is very prevalent, but you have to conquer your fear. So if you have self-doubt, if you are unsure, find a mentor. It could be me, it could be anybody else, or a family member, or a friend, someone that's going to be honest with you and explain your situation, tell them how you feel, tell them what you know. Preferably if it's career related, you're talking to someone in your career field. That way you two can have a conversation back and forth and actually understand each other. If it's personal and how you feel about someone or something, then I would hope that the people you talk to are understanding, are able to hold that conversation, but not always be one-sided, right? Be able to see things from both sides, be able to walk in someone else's shoes and understand why they feel the way they feel. And it should help you out, but you've got to get rid of all the fear, which isn't easy, but so much of our lives is held back by ourselves. Our love lives, our personal lives, our careers, they're held back because of us, because we get complacent, because we're comfortable where we're at. We may not be happy, but we're comfortable, right? It's solid. It's a good foundation, but you're not going to build anything with that. You're not going to get anywhere. So I hope this helps. I hope whoever asked this question, I hope this helps. And if you have any comments, please feel free. Go on my social media, send me a message, go on Good Pods, leave a review, whatever the case may be. But if you have any questions or want to discuss this further, please feel free to reach out. All my social media handles and all the ways you can get a hold of me are down below in the show notes. So whether it's down below or on the side, depends on what you're watching on, it's all there. But otherwise, I do want to say this. Look, this show's all about wisdom. It's all about growth. And again, I'm not afraid to be wrong. If I'm wrong, please reach out. Let me know. Talk to me. Let's have a conversation. That's all I ever want to do. And we can grow together. You can teach me. I can teach you. We can have a discussion. So with that, I want to leave you, as always, with a little bit of wisdom. So to explain this stanza, it's about saying too much and not saying anything. So stanza 27 from the Havamal is interesting. And this is what I want to kind of close this episode out with. It's best for a fool to keep his mouth shut among other people. No one will know he knows nothing if he says nothing. An ignorant man doesn't know how little he knows, no matter how much he talks. Now, it's very important, and it's worth stating that you're not a fool necessarily for saying nothing. If you don't know anything and you say nothing, then nobody will know. However, if you speak too much and you don't know what you're talking about, then you let the ignorance shine. And I don't mean ignorance isn't stupid. I mean ignorance is you really don't know what you're talking about. So you can say too little or say nothing, and people may think you're a fool, but they don't know for sure because you said nothing. Or you can say too much and not know what you're talking about and be ignorant. So think about that, because there is a way to speak and to listen and to learn. So it's never wise to not say anything at all in certain situations, but it's also not wise to take up the room and speak at all times, because then you're not listening. You're not growing and you're not learning. So understand that. And I hope that helps you. I do. So whoever this is, truly, thank you once again. I appreciate it. Feel free to ask any more questions. I will answer them as best I can. But otherwise, it's me, the Cyber Warrior. You can find all ways to support us in the show notes, as well as on social media and on my website, cyberwarriorstudios.com. Otherwise, I love you all, and I will talk to you all next time.